Welcome to Waking Up America, the Not Morning Show. Today's news: Kari Lakes lawsuit dismissed in Arizona, Kamala Harris gets a special Christmas gift, and the Texas population hits 30 million. Let's talk about this while we still can. Also, Merry Christmas. I hope you got everything you wanted. Let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, first story of the day here. Arizona judge rejects Kari Lakes election lawsuit and Lake is to appeal. Before I get into the story, if you watched my previous video, you do know that I was pessimistic on this. I did not think this was going to go the way that we thought it was, and I will explain why. But let's go ahead and get into it. On Saturday, Arizona gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake lost her post-midterm election lawsuit against Democrat Governor-elect Katie Hobbs, which alleged that Arizona voters were disenfranchised after actions by Hobbs and Maricopa County election officials. In dismissing Lake's case, Superior Court Judge Peter Thompson paved the way for Katie Hobbs to be Arizona's next governor, but gave both sides until Monday for Lake's side to appeal and for Hobbs' side to seek sanctions. Even if Kari Lake does appeal here, I'm still a little bit pessimistic on it, but kudos to her for continuing this fight and bringing more attention to it. She continues with a tweet: "My election case provided the world with evidence that proves our elections are run outside of the law. This judge did not rule in our favor. However, for the sake of restoring faith and honesty in our elections, I will appeal his ruling." Now, what I think is important here, and I kind of laid this out in the other video, judicial activism has run rampant through our legal system. These people go into law school with an agenda. It's impossible to be impartial, especially in today's world. So that being said, had this been a liberal judge, yes, he would have obviously voted against Kari Lake. I think one of the main indicators of that is the fact that he threw out about 80% of her case, which most of them were substantiated with hard evidence, and they definitely should have been put up to scrutiny. He took 20% of the case. But that being said, had he even been a conservative judge, I think he probably would have voted the same way. And I don't say that because of the truth. The truth is there was definitely electioneering here, and there was violation of the law with proof of custody. There was violations in the procedures that they use with the 18-inch versus 19-inch ballots, and I think it was something like 50 to 60% of the actual voting machines were shut down. Now, why do I say even a conservative judge would vote against this? Because the right is not violent. Okay, voting against the right is the easy choice here. We are generally not violent. We don't really protest. This judge, had he voted in favor of Kari Lake, would have brought down the ire of the left on him and destroyed his life. Now, I do fault him for that because he's a coward. If he's not going on political motions here, if he is a conservative and he didn't vote for Kari Lake because of that, he's a coward. But that being said, bringing the ire of the left down, it would have absolutely destroyed his life. But you know what? As people on the right, we need to put our country ahead of our lives sometimes. It is very important that you put your money where your mouth is. Okay, you can't just stand up for these principles and then come out when the time comes and not make that right choice. There's always the right choice. Okay, moving on in the article here, small little rant over. Lake's team argued that in the election, which was won by Hobbs, with fewer than 18,000 votes, mind you, more than 2 million people voted in this. So 18,000, that's a very small margin. She only actually needed to be at 0.5%. And she was at 0.6%. If she was at 0.5%, it would have triggered an automatic recount, which we would have seen many of these discrepancies. So the fact that the judge didn't vote for this, despite being off by 0.1%, is insane. Okay. Which were not valid after review granted by the court. Lake said they admitted that they've known about these ballot problems, which they did during the actual trial. They did admit on the stand that they knew about several persistent ballot problems. In fact, they had, I believe, something with the printers going on while they still certified the election and allowed Katie Hobbs to certify it. Heather Honey, who was an expert from Lakeside, used statements from Maricopa County election officials to make the case that legal requirements over chain of custody were not followed. That is 100% correct. There were several opportunities that were revealed in the actual lawsuit from the defense and the witnesses, where they specifically stated that they had no idea where the ballots were during certain times. Okay, now that's a violation of the law. This is where it gets big, and this is where it kind of twists into another element that we've been covering: the Twitter files. According to the Twitter files, Hobbs had her office contact Twitter to censor posts related to the Arizona gubernatorial election. That is definitely illegal. That is electioneering. You are not allowed to interfere like that. This is the equivalent of canceling her ads or going after anything positive on her. And that is 100% going to sway voters because they're not going to see the opposition. They're only going to see your view. And with how much money they dump into these elections, of course it's going to sway that way. That being said, there were some very suspicious discrepancies in this election, but we're not going to get onto it right now. We'll have a whole episode on that, I'm sure. Okay, next story here. This has to do with Kamala Harris's lovely gift-wrapped Christmas present. Texas Governor Abbott's gift to Kamala Harris on Christmas Eve, a busload of illegal aliens. 3 busloads of people who entered the United States illegally were bused from Texas to Washington, D.C. late Saturday, the official home of Vice President Kamala Harris, and dropped basically at her doorstep. Now, it's very important to caveat here before you start yelling at the TV or anything. It's like, why are we sending them anywhere? Why are we letting them in? The federal government is the one actually pushing these people into the country, and they're just leaving them as essentially legal green card, whatever, in Texas. So we're just shipping them out. Sent at the behest of Texas Governor Greg Abbott as he tries to shake the Biden administration into taking responsibility for the disastrous crisis at the border. Now, little important note here. Border officials encountered an estimated 2.4 million illegals in 2022, shattering previous records. Unknown number were never encountered. 2.4 million. That's a little bit less than 1% of our total population per year. Let that sink in. So if this happens for 30 years, that's a third of our population. That's insane. I want to get onto this video here. This is from the El Paso airport. We have freezing temperatures outside, and it looks like a freaking war zone.
¿Dónde son? ¿Dónde son? Peru? Peru. Everyone? ¿Dónde son? ¿Dónde son? ¿Dónde son? Dominican? Dominicana? ¿Dónde son?
Colombia.
Colombia.
You should ask for permission before we
Colombia, Peru, Dominican Republic. These people are coming from all over because they know that the border is open and this is being manufactured. They are being pushed here because the Democrats, as far as they believe that sending more of these illegal immigrants here into the United States will give them more voters and more voting power. It does. There is a lot of polling data that actually suggests that the Hispanic vote will typically gravitate towards the right wing due to conservative values. So this may act as a double-edged sword for them. But this is insane. We cannot have a country if we just allow people to flood in. That's not how this country works. It's not how it's ever worked. We've always had legal immigration. And the problem is these people, they take the spot of legal immigrants who are sitting and waiting, who have spent thousands of dollars. They've gone through the legal checks and bounds, jump through hoops, and what happens is when these illegal immigrants meet the certain threshold or quota that we can bring in each year into the United States and surpass it, which we have been surpassing it every year, those legal immigrants get pushed back. They get pushed back each time, and they cannot get into the country while they would bring ideally American values and, you know, actually not be a strain on the system here. Illegal immigrants take several millions of dollars out of our economy every month and mail it down back to their home countries usually. In addition to that, usually they will end up on welfare and not pay taxes. Okay, small little rant over there again. We have a very important bill here, and this is kind of frightening when you think about it. And this shows the corruption of the Biden administration and the federal government and just how dark and evil they really are. Representative Lauren Boebert unveils bill to end taxpayer-funded abortions for illegal immigrants. Speaking of being strains, Representative Lauren Boebert seeks to end taxpayer funding for abortions for illegal immigrants. No Taxpayer Funds for Illegal Alien Abortions Act. Well put. Could have a... This is the problem with the right. They put everything so literally in the name. You need to give it a flair to it, like the left does, that pulls at the heartstrings. Something like, I don't know, the Killing Babies in the Womb Act, or Saving Babies in the Womb Act. Something simple that really pulls at the heartstrings. Or Saving Babies Act, honestly, would work. You'd probably get leftists on that one. It's like, yeah, well, we got to save the babies. Okay. So this act would bar Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and Health and Human Services employees or contractors from transporting illegal immigrants across state lines to get abortions. According to the bill, the Biden administration in November instructed federal officials caring for pregnant, unaccompanied illegal immigrant girls to transport them to areas in the country where abortion is legal. The Biden administration is unlawfully using taxpayer money to transport pregnant, illegal alien children across state lines for late-term abortions. My colleagues and I have introduced bicameral legislation to end these illegal and horrific policies once and for all. Now, what is important here? And I am sorry, but just to visualize this, these are not just mothers who just got pregnant on the way up. These are late-term abortion. One, why the hell are we paying our money for this? For them to come here and get an abortion? Second, why the hell are they getting an abortion here? They can get them in their country if they want. Third, as far as the citizens or human rights issue here, I guarantee you these federal agents are trying to convince these mothers. And unfortunately, some of them probably have no idea what's going on, and then they just get put in a chair because I don't even know. This is such darkness to be killing a child in the womb like this, and to me, it just brings up a horror story in my mind of what the federal government would be doing with this. Again, the article goes on here. Taxpayer money should never fund abortions, whether for citizens or non-citizens. Our priority at the southern border should be security and peace, not death and destruction, Boebert said in her statement. I am so glad that she re-won her election because she actually speaks the truth. And I mean, this madness needs to stop. I don't think her bill is going to go anywhere, unfortunately, because we have spineless Republicans like McCarthy and the rest of them who are going to oppose this stuff. But we'll see what happens with it. Moving deeper into this, I want to break some of this data down for you. Breaking in a blatant Friday evening news dump going into Christmas weekend, the federal government has released the November border numbers. CBP reports 233,740 illegal alien encounters, the highest November ever recorded, and a large increase over last November, 174,845. Can you even picture how many people that is in a single month? That is a ridiculous number. That's 250,000 in a single month. And the increase there, I don't know, 25%? I mean, it is ramping up like crazy on the border right now. Now, I want to show you a video here from Greg Abbott that gives me a little bit of hope that at least Texas and some of the border states are doing what needs to be done to seal our border, because having this open border for November, I mean, we're going to see in December if this makes any difference. Hopefully we can analyze that data and look at those numbers to see if they have reduced. But let's go and watch this video. This to me gives me some hope.
And so I tell you, I'm so impressed.
This is Major General Ronald Burkett on the border from the Texas military.
Task Force West got this mission basically on Saturday. And OLS, the staff, was able to move 400 people to El Paso, over 40 vehicles. And what you can see is, I mean, they did it in 72 hours. And their ability to work together is so incredibly impressive. This morning, the SP time was 4 a.m., and they absolutely crushed it. Really impressed with what they're doing. They're focused on deterrence. They're focused on sending a message that unlawful crossings is not an option. You've got to go to the POE. And the way they've rolled out this morning and what they are doing is just incredibly impressive. This is the totality of the TMD. We've got the Air Guard, Yesterday, they brought in 4 C-130s, brought in the rest of the packs, some of the vehicles, the equipment that's needed today and being used. Couldn't do it without them. It's the whole TMD. It's the State Guard, it's the Army Guard, and the Air Guard coming together and demonstrating that we can be where we need to be. Anywhere on this border, we can surge in a very short amount of time.
Now, I am just so impressed by the ingenuity of the American military here, more specifically the Texas National Guard, their ability to get down here and get this done as quickly as they could. It was like 2 days, and they have almost the entire section concertina or barbed wired all the way down. Like, that is how easy it is to seal our border, and yet we're not doing it. These politicians have passed bills after bill after bill giving money to the border and saying that they're going to do it, and then they don't do it. They always pull back on it. It is destroying our country, and it is so easily provable that it is doable. I mean, you can see the people on the other side in that video. They were very, very dissuaded from coming across. You can see when as soon as they put that concertina wire over there, you can see the other people on the other border sitting there like, well, shit, can't cross here. Let me go down a couple blocks to the federal government where they'll just let me in. Great. Okay. So as I mentioned in the beginning, Texas has hit the population of 30 million. That is both a good thing and a bad thing, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of a neutral thing and a bad thing. They want you to believe that it's from, just natural population growth, but that there's some other factors to it, and we're going to go ahead and get into the numbers here. So I've stated in previous videos, to keep down population decline, you need a birth rate of 2.2. That is, I'm not going to go into the science on that, but essentially it's because you need it to outweigh the deaths, and that will keep your population stagnant. So we are slightly growing right now in the state of Texas. Pulling this up here. So article, Texas is now home to 30 million people. Texas has joined California as the only other state in the nation with a population of more than 30 million. Fueled by migration to the state from other parts of the country, Texas crossed a new population threshold this year, and it is now home to 30 million people. Now, there is another important factor here. People love liberty. They will always go to the state that gives them liberty, and they are flooding away from these other democratic states, and I'm going to bang them out here real quick. Texas population increased by 470,708 people since July 2021, the largest gain in the nation. Texas regularly holds the top space on the Bureau's annual population updates. Roughly half of that growth came from net domestic migration. So that means people coming from other states. So half of this number, so about 250,000 people flooded to Texas this year from other states. The number of people coming to Texas from other states, while the other half was split almost evenly between the net international migration and natural increase, which is the difference between births and deaths. So you see how they kind of combine that number, probably because they don't want to highlight it. But at least 25% is illegal immigrants just coming into the country and flooding our population, giving us a population boom, which you can argue is a good thing, but to destroy the culture of a country and leave nothing left leaves us with nothing. California's growth has been stunted recently, and the Golden State has lost almost 500,000 residents in the last 2 years alone. Now, this is where I kind of want to get into the next topic here, and that is liberal policies. Go woke, go broke. We look at another state here, Florida. New Florida estimates show nation's third largest state reaching historic milestone. So they have received more people than they have, I think, since 1960. Yeah, since the 1960s here. This is in direct response to DeSantis and his policies, and this Texas boom is in response to Texas's policies. Now, if we look at the contrast here, we look at Illinois. Their population is down another 104,000. Illinois is the prime example of democratic policies. You've got gun control, high taxes, no police. People are leaving it in droves. New 2022 state population estimates from the U.S. Census Bureau show that Illinois was once again one of the nation's biggest losers. Understatement there. Illinois population shrank by over 104,000 between 2021 and 2022, the third worst in decline in the nation, behind only New York and California. Okay, so if you look at these numbers, in this chart specifically, Illinois, again, absolutely horrible, dropped 104,000, but you have New York and California up there as well, also losing 100,000 people. people in California are brainwashed, so they're going to stay there, or rather they're taxed so high that they can't even leave. But people are absolutely leaving these leftist states and these leftist policies. It does give me some hope that we have more people moving to our side. If we can beat the Democratic voting machine, hopefully we can win in 2024. We'll see. But again, looking at this, Texas had a 1.6% increase in its population, Florida a 1.9%, Arizona 1.3%, North Carolina 1.2%, Georgia 1.3%. You can see that people are gravitating towards these states. But another important aspect that we need to be aware of here is that some of these are people who will be voting against your ideals. And you know what? It is up to you to educate them. Greet them with a smile. Teach them what our founding fathers envisioned for us and our morals, and try to get them to your side. It's not as hard as it sounds to break their liberal woke mind. You just have to come in from a friendly angle. If you come at them through anger, they're gonna go ahead and bury themselves inside and become more adamant against your positions. So it's very important that you know how to discuss this with them. If you have any questions about this, please post them in the comments. More than happy to help. All right. Again, we have more examples here. This is article after article after article. U.S. Census, most of the tri-states areas, so this is New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, areas, smallest towns continue to lose population. Most of these places are becoming ghost towns because people are leaving them. Just going to Texas, they're going to Florida, they're going to these other states that have right-wing values and liberty. People don't like being locked down. Which brings me into the final part of the episode. Again, it is go woke, go broke. We're going to get into a little bit more lighthearted topic here. If you are a fan of The Witcher, and I'm a nerd out here for a little bit, but The Witcher, if you played the games, read it in the stories, it takes place in Poland. Essentially, it's based on Poland, but if you've watched the Netflix series, you would not think it's Poland. You've got people all over. It's the melting pot, and that show has been going downhill since they replaced Henry Cavill, because he was very upset. He plays Superman. He was very upset with the way that the show was going and going against the story. They talk about they talk all the time about whitewashing, where we take historical black things and put white people in them, but it's the complete opposite on this show. It's just blackwashing. Take white characters, turn them black for reasons. Now, they released a spin-off to this because they were so upset by the root material in The Witcher that it wasn't woke enough that they created a spin-off show here. And I think this should give hope to all of you. Just suffer through this small little video with me for just a second here. This is straight from the Witcher account. It seems like a parody. I can't believe that they released this and thought this was good, or who they're kowtowing to here. The cast gives 10 reasons why you should watch The Witcher Blood Origin.
I can give you 1,000.
But you didn't.
The cast are insane.
The action is fierce.
It's got Michelle Yeoh, who is, I mean, you already know that, but she's just incredible.
It's set 1,000 years before The Witcher.
It explores part of the lore of The Witcher that hasn't been explored before.
There are monsters like we've never seen before.
It has the first kiss between two men in the show.
No one cares. Hollywood, nobody cares about this. Netflix, nobody cares about this. This is what I talk about all the time. They're putting it in front of you. It's a normalcy bias. They're going to show it to you. It's going to upset you. First time you see the two men kiss, it's like, oh, this makes me angry. Third time, makes me angry. Fourth time, you're just like, well, just get it off the freaking screen already. 5, 6. Eventually just become accustomed to it. Or who knows, maybe become gay. This is disgusting. The American people know that it's disgusting. This is if you look at the show's reviews, people do not want to see this crap anymore. They're tired of it. Makes me want to vomit. Let's continue this obnoxious video here.
The costumes are divine. The makeup, the hair. Bon appetit.
There's a deaf sign language using character.
It's a show that's made with so much love, and that's really fun.
Right. Okay. So if we look at the critic reviews here, this is from user reviews, it's 2.1 stars or 35% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, we continue to see this example in Hollywood and Netflix where it's go woke, go broke. You see it at Disney. Disney does it all the time. They put out these new movies, they flop because they put these agendas in and people are tired of seeing them, but they do not learn their lesson and they don't care. They have millions and billions of dollars to push towards this propaganda, and they hope that it's not hitting the steel when it's hot. It's hitting the steel again and again and again until it becomes hot, because they want to make this normal. They want the normalcy bias to affect you, and they want you to say, oh, whatever, just keep doing it, whatever. Educate my kids, indoctrinate my kids. Okay, my rant is over. That was my little nerd out for the day. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Alexander Graves. I am the constitutional conservative for the show. Please follow us on Twitter at America Wake Up. And please, if you would like to support this content, buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/wakeup. You guys can start subscriptions there, or just buy me a single cup of coffee. Literally anything helps. It encourages me to continue doing this. Every dollar helps. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.